We moved it over here.
The flag's over here today.
All right, yeah, well, it's back where it's supposed to be. Okay, I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Public Utilities Commission to order for Monday, October 16, 2017. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business is public input. If Marion says something that's not on the agenda, then it's not right. Oh, that's the, it's gonna, that is the, yes, feed it that way. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, it's, okay, that's good enough.
I was looking for it and I was like, what is it?
I don't know how,
Was that the speaker?
that's the microphone. And trust me, it's extremely sensitive. It picks up everything. Correspondence, anything not in the packet? All right. Then I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 2nd.
I'll move that we accept the minutes of October 2nd.
Second. Okay, moved and seconded. Any comments, corrections? And hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, that carries. Financial reports, Bob.
Okay, I left on the table in front of you the 9:30 reports. Water Department shows a net deficit of 202,228.66. That includes $340,000 in capital expenditures. And if you, the biggest items are on page 6 of the report. We'll show the breakdown. Burns Construction, $77,000 is the big one. Zenelius, $219,000, and then Wright Pierce for $37,000. I also put on the reports this time, and maybe I'll officially get it into the printed version, but I went back to September of last year. The loss last year was $342,980. So this year at $202,229, it's moving in the right direction. It's down. And I think that part of that is from the increase in the rates that went into effect January 1st, but they were collected in March or April of this year. If you go to the sewer department, the net revenue after the Stony Hill sewer debt payments and also the revenue collected for the Stony Hill sewers is $361,402. Last year at this time would have been $413, but it could be a timing difference too, especially on the sewer assessments, because last year there was more money collected on the sewer assessments than there was this year. So that could be a contributing factor. And nothing really that pops out on this right now. You know, it's only 3 months, but it all kind of falls in line. That's about it on the financials. I do have a bill that I didn't get to Kathy, and it's from the city of Danbury for their sewer assessment. It's $1.2 million, and we normally pay this in a quarterly. So I guess when we get to the bills, we can talk about this, but I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay,
I did receive one.
all right. Go back to the water department. So we're still showing a loss of $202,000
Yeah,
thereabouts.
but that includes the $340,000 in capital expenditures.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you take that out and you got a positive, you got a surplus.
Well, are those capital expenditures going to be moved into the loan column or anything?
Well, they'll get moved in at the end of the year like we do it every year.
Okay.
So, and like I said, page 6 shows the major items that are in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what Burns Construction is for, offhand. $77,000.
Well, that was retainage. Was that retainage?
From the last one, I think it was retained from the last one.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
Yeah, the retainage.
Okay. All right, you guys have questions for Bob? Remind me, do we usually vote to accept the financial report, or we just take it as a report item?
Usually you just take it as a report. Sometimes you voted and sometimes you.
Okay, all right, well, so once again, any questions for Bob on that, on those things? All right, then we'll move on to invoices. And to get that started, I'll put a motion on the floor to approve invoices for regular meeting dated October 16th, 2017 in the amount of $71,493.80. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So take a look at, so tell you what, Bob, you have the City of
I have
Danbury
the
thing.
City of Danbury invoice for the sewer usage
Yeah.
fee of $1,178,754. And the last few years, the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, we've paid them on a quarterly basis. We don't pay the full amount. We can. I mean, the money is there, but we've always divided it up and just
Why?
paid it.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Oh, we're gonna pay it quarterly, correct?
Yeah. yeah,
Good.
Yeah. They've never complained about it, so until they do.
Okay.
How much was that amount again?
$1,178,754.
So that'd be a little over 300 and some odd thousand.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have, well, let's tell you what, let's do that one. We'll just do that as a separate vote, seeing as how it's it's not on the same sheet. So, any questions for Bob about the invoices before us for regular meeting approval? And hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. So let's do this. 1178754. So I'm going to put a motion on the floor to authorize the comptroller to pay the City of Danbury $1,178,754 in 4 equal quarterly installments of $294,688.50.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? And hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that carries. All right, thank you very much. Doug, Director's Report?
Yeah, nothing substantial, just some construction updates. Mary, I guess will fill us in on the Whites Hill Pump Station. I will mention that we've gotten the go-ahead to do some test wells at the new well field over behind the men's softball field. Right now, it looks like if everything works out well and the plan holds true, we could be looking at having those new wells constructed, or new well with a backup well constructed in the summer of 2019. So, that's kind of the timeline for that project there. Marius and Kelly will fill you on the other activities that have been going on in the department in more detail.
Okay. All right, questions?
Why 19?
From talking to Marius and Wright Pierce, there may be a low flow study or pump test that's required by DEEP that would necessitate that happening in July or August of 2018. So by the
But
time,
not for sure. We don't know for sure.
no, well, that's what our initial indications are, is that DEEP is looking for a low flow test. Because the Department of Health, they have jurisdiction over the actual drinking water portion of the section, what gets constructed, how that whole thing works. DEEP, they have control over the environmental impacts. So this is actually a lot of emphasis on these days. They're very concerned about wells being installed too closely to water surface bodies, and those surface bodies being impacted by wells drawing too much water off the surface. So they want to ensure the study's done properly. They're right now saying that it looks like we're going to require you to do that during low flow conditions, and the annual low flow conditions are normally in August. So if we did that work in August of 2018, the study takes us, a report takes us until fall of 2018, and then a 4 to 6 month review. We're already into a spring bidding for a summer of 2019 construction.
Takes forever to do anything.
Yeah, and we've been pushing this hard. So I will give you updates if we can get around that somehow. Maybe there's some other, another methodology that could justify what they're looking for. But right now, that's the reasonable date that I'm able to share.
You agree with that?
I agree with you.
Is there?
I mean,
My only concern is, as we go forward, you know, the more you delay, the higher the costs become to put it into effect.
Yeah, so it's really the DEP fisheries, department, they really want you to do the pump test when you have the stream flow the lowest, which is usually June, July. So, actually Greg, our hydrogeologist, had a conversation with him, I think last week. And basically, the Connecticut DEP fisheries indicated that that's the time that, we want, they want the time to test the wells because it's the low stream conditions. And they're just afraid they're gonna deplete the stream from water and then the fish will die and all the organisms will die. Again, we're gonna be ready for it if we can, if we observe low stream flow conditions earlier on, maybe there's gonna be a, dry spring and maybe we're gonna get low flow in April, May. We'll definitely be ready to get that going at that time. So we're gonna be, basically keeping tab of that. That's why we have the stream flows in the streams. We've been monitoring the stream flow since, a few months back. So we have good indication, what the stream flow is right now. If we start noticing, the stream flow going down or no flow in the stream, then, okay, well, this is your worst case scenario. We wanna do the test, so that might occur maybe,
We're right now in sort of a drought situation.
Yeah, right.
What sets the criteria for that, and how quick can you respond to it?
To which one?
A
To
low flow condition?
well, the low flow condition. If you look at your 7-day low flow condition, so there's a formula that for every stream is different because what you do, you need to measure like your average flow throughout the year. So you get your peak flow, you get your low flow, and based on the stream gauge, you basically understand what your low flow period is, and then you basically demonstrate to the DEP that this is the lowest flow that the stream is going to have, and then they give you permission to actually test during those low flows, and usually that occurs in the summertime.
So what kind of, if it's a stream, 2 days of heavy rain is going to change everything.
Right.
So how quickly can you respond to their?
With the pump test, you mean? Yeah, we're gonna be ready because as you see from my update here, we're actually gonna be installing the well in the spring of next year, so be ready. And, we're gonna be monitoring the stream flow and then we can respond very quickly, with the constantly with probably 7 days or so, to get it going, so.
So you won't be ready till the spring to be able to run the test?
Right, because, yes.
Is that the test well or the actual well that we're gonna? The actual
production
well.
well, right. The test well will go
So-
in this fall, but the production well will get installed in the spring of next year.
So if we put $100,000 into the ground over there,
Right.
and Deep says you're pumping too much water, do we cut back on the amount of water we're pumping, or do we have to?
No, you come back in the way of water.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, so we wouldn't have to abandon
No.
the money that we put in the
No,
ground
no.
over there. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess another way of asking the same question is we should have a reasonable idea what the impact is before the town
That's right.
invests hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right,
into it.
yeah, that's what-
Yeah, well, yeah.
So that's why they make you to go through all these hoops, install these monitoring devices to monitor what the stream flow is, and that's why we've been doing all the work. Make sure we understand what the flow of the stream is, so we can demonstrate the we're not really making any impacts, or if we make any impacts, how to minimize them to get the town the most flow possible from that well.
So, Marius, would it be reasonable if we had so at that point, really, it's just that final test to allow us to go live? If the test that Deep is requiring us,
Right.
that's the full production level.
That's correct.
So we could either sink the well in the ground and wait, or we could actually start building on our infrastructure in anticipation of passing that test. If you want to shorting
If
the,
you want to shorten, but I would advise probably wait till you get, because you
You don't
understand how
know.
much water you're gonna be able to get, and whether it's worth, the infrastructure.
well, that's a consideration that
That's correct.
if we wanted to shorten that timeline.
That's right.
You could be doing the infrastructure and waiting for that test to be the last of everything we do,
Mm-hmm.
but there would be some risk to that.
That's correct, yeah. And again, what's included in the schedule is also the DEP review time, so after we do all the testing, it takes about 4 to 6 months for the DEP to review the final report. So our goal is to really keep the DEP up to date with every step we take. We've been doing that. So if we keep them informed, through all the stages through the project, then we actually be able to accelerate the review time and maybe review one in 2 to 3 months. which will really cut the time shorter, what's anticipated at this point. But this is sort of like the worst case scenario we're showing you right now.
Is that a standard for them, 4 to 6 months?
Yeah, that's on the website, that's what it is, yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah. So,
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Doug?
Yeah, I see on task force, task number 4, the wetland and endangered species. Don't we have already some reports from the bridge project over there that we could use?
Yeah,
for
we've got
that?
a lot of work that we've done through there, and we'll be coordinating around those efforts, not to duplicate effort.
Right, okay, that's what I was.
Absolutely
there's also some
so-
reports the HRP done running the well, so we are in the process of getting some of the wetland reports that they did. So we're gonna see what they did, supplement, not to duplicate the work that's really done.
Okay.
So,
Great.
I did have one comment from last meeting. Rich had asked me to look into a situation on the Shelter Rock or Payne Road property. That area that was outside of our sewer district, apparently, from my understanding, has always been outside of our sewer district. Rich.
All right, thank
I
you.
didn't see anything, or my staff didn't identify any drawings that we have that would indicate otherwise.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up there.
Okay, moving along to, we have nothing on new business, old business, so Mary, so you can just go through the rest of
yeah, just go through the rest
the
of
project
So,
report.
you know, they'll be on the Horseshoe Water Booster Station, so again, you know, I think, you know, the work is ongoing, mechanical, electrical work continues to move forward. I went to the pump station this morning, so the piping on the inside, you know, down with the piping galleries, it's nearly done. You know, all the suction discharge piping. The electrical contractor is continuing to put electrical equipment in. You know, all the HVAC equipment has already been installed, so all the fans, heaters are installed, they need to be wired up. We have another meeting this Friday to review the project schedule and see where they stand. Again, I haven't seen any update from the contractor, so, you know, I mean, my understanding is they're gonna try to get it done by, you know, end of October. Again, I'm gonna meet with them on Friday again, just to come up to date and, you know, and give them information on it. But, you know, we're pushing them hard. My understanding is that it's an issue with getting some parts for the piping, but now, you know, they're able to get those parts. I think the big shipment came in today, so it's gonna be delivered to the site tomorrow. I mean, if you go down there, I think the stairs will be installed in a week to go down. You know, we've got the door color picked today, so I'm gonna give it to the contractor, you know, so he can start painting the doors. And then, you know, once everything is done on the inside, they're gonna do, you know, finish up the site work on the outside.
Landscaping.
Landscaping, yeah, so I'm gonna be meeting with them on Friday again to firm up the schedule and.
The neighbor was concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
I met with him and he picked a color for the doors.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And, you know, he says, make sure that we have some nice landscaping to contribute to the neighborhood.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what's your best estimate of punch list done and out of there?
Probably end of November. roughly.
End of November, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Punches and everything. That's based on what I see today, but again, we're gonna push them as hard as we can because they've been out
Yeah.
there for a long time, and again, you know, we can't really control them, but, you know, there's been no issue with the water supply, Kelly, over there, right? The little pump station is working fine, and,
It's working.
yeah, well, you know,
Well, the pumps are running, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The bypass, yeah.
Well, you
The
know.
bypass, not
The
the-
bypass, yeah. Well, I know that we got a call last week that somebody said, hey, the water's coming out of my shower like gangbusters. So apparently that's when we stopped the flushing.
Yeah.
And the pressure went back up. So they were concerned that there was something, that their pipes were going to explode. So we told them that, no, it'll be okay. This is where it's supposed to be.
Now, when do you plan to start filling that tank, or are you doing that right now?
No, that's gonna be doing the startup, because they have to, you know, disinfect the tank, they have to make sure it passes the material test and everything, so. So, yeah, we don't want the water to be sitting there for long, but they already installed the pipe inside.
Yeah.
So the pipe has been installed already, you know, painted and everything, and the tank's been cleaned. They actually worked on the overflow, the new overflow is gonna come out from that tank, so it's gonna, you know, basically discharge on site. So this is, you know, this one's gonna satisfy the consent order that the town has, you know, fix the overflow, they're working on that.
I have a question, that sump pump that they're draining into the manhole there, into the catch basin. Is that groundwater or is that a leak from the pipe?
What that is, they dug it up a couple times, and it's around the, I think it's the drains on the hydrant. I think the drains are not blocking that off. It's not a lot of water, but it's steady water.
Right, yeah.
And, yeah, I think it's basically just gonna be changing a hydrant, and they owe us a hydrant. So, whatever it is, it's after that valve, and when it's up and running, because we need that hydrant now to feed the system,
Yeah.
so we keep shutting down. But when it's switched over to the new system, that's one of the things I told them, that hydrant has to be changed, and Miri's looked into it, and they do owe us another hydrant anyway, so that's what that
Yeah,
is.
I'm just looking at the waste of water.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's gotta be at least 5 gallons a minute coming out of that hose
Yeah,
for 9 months.
at least.
Okay. All right,
And then, Brightcliff Metal Booster Station, so the DP is still reviewing the letter, but the contractor sent us an email last week because he was concerned how long it takes for the state to review the project, so I forwarded the email to the DPH on Friday, and I got a phone call this morning from the DPH saying that letter was moved out to the commissioner, so I think they're gonna try to expedite review and hopefully get a review within a week. So
Okay.
the town's gonna get a letter back, and then you can award the contract to Trubel Environmental.
okay,
So that's moving forward. And then item number 3 is the last item, which is the new well fees. You can see kind of all the different tasks I laid out. So, you can see this is the worst case scenario. The project, design and bidding 2019. But again, we're gonna do our best to kind of accelerate that schedule. And you can see that really is, the task number 6 is really the one that's gonna kind of hold us up here. Because, I guess we're gonna be installing the small wells this fall. We're gonna be doing the pump test with the small wells, getting the report to the state by end of the year. And then once the report is approved, we're gonna be installing the big well, which is task number 6. And then, but once the well is installed, the DEP fisheries would not allow any pump tests through the summertime because they wanna see the low frost, condition. Again, we're gonna try to see if there's no rain, we're gonna try to expedite it. Maybe we can do that in May or June to move the schedule along and move quicker. And then once the big pump test is done, then we need to, do a report, send it back to the state, they will approve it. And then, they will give us permission to install the, new well, basically, based on the flow rate that we're gonna determine is gonna, be good for the town and really not have any impacts to the environment or the streams.
Let me ask you a question, just out of curiosity. The stream flow, did the DEP or any state agency select a site where you're going to test?
We actually presented the sites to the DEP. That's why we sent in the report that I talked about 2 weeks ago. We sent in this is our preliminary proposed testing. What we're gonna put those mother on the wells, we're gonna put the stream gauges. All those locations were approved by the DEP. We didn't wanna do anything without their approval because obviously
Right.
if we
That-
take the wrong site, they're not gonna get it. So we've got all the approvals. We've got the testing protocol approved, how we're gonna test the wells, what information we're gonna give them. We wanna make sure that they're kept up to date on every little step we make because we don't wanna, do the work and then say, well, this is the wrong location.
Right.
So
That
that's a
was
very
my
good
question.
That's a
Okay.
very good
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you.
okay.
Just, Maris, back to item 2. Are we going to receive a letter from the DEP about, or Department of Health, because it's being delayed up there? Because we were supposed to have that done by the end of the year.
Yes, yes. yeah.
Okay, so you're following that up
We're
with
gonna have,
Doug's
we're gonna have
phone?
to send the letter in and then we work on the letter to send it in and, yeah.
Because it seems like they're the
Yes.
ones holding it up now.
That's right, yep.
Yeah, I caught Cam Walden at a recent meeting in Brookfield. Cam is on the financing side. Florin works for Cam. And evidently we got caught. They had an issue with another town that did a lot of work without permission, and they caused them to review all their legal documents. I mean, this was in the past few months that we got caught in this major delay, and they were very apologetic, but at the same time, also very frustrated that they couldn't get our application or permission to move forward ahead. And they've said from the get-go, because of all the work the town has done proactively, if the low-pressure issue needed to be pushed back farther, it would not be a problem. So I don't foresee that being an issue at all, from our perspective. So I think the town of Bethel still in very good graces.
I just want to be on top of it, so we
Yep.
don't get to the December 30th and they say, oh, you didn't comply with it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all.
all in the same agency, Rich, so I would very,
Well.
I don't,
Is this all
Sometimes.
done via email, so it's documented, or is this phone conversation?
No, I mean, we had Lori,
Matthew.
Mathau was here, so she, it's all under, we're dealing with everybody that responds directly to her. So we're all with the same agency on that consent order, so,
Written or oral? That's,
Oh, it's all written. We've got emails back and forth
Okay.
documenting this whole process.
Because a third-party group comes in and says, the town of Bethel has violated their consent agreement.
Yeah, we would,
Next thing you know, you've got a lawsuit.
no, yeah, we're dealing with everyone, it's with the one and same agency and director.
Well, that's why it's important to have it documented, so.
Yeah,
You know that old expression, don't you? Written agreements are not worth the paper they're written on. I mean, verbal. Verbal agreements. All right. Anything else for Doug? For Marius, I mean? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to the water and sewer regs. Kelly has passed out another copy for your perusal, but I believe we have, this is a final document. It has incorporated all the changes that you guys wanted. And the only thing that is left to do, which we can do separately, is create a cost schedule, a charge schedule. And what we did was, if you remember the previous discussion, we separated that out of the regs so that those costs can be adjusted, according to market conditions as needed. So if you guys are ready, I would like to call for a vote on those regs so we can put those in place. And then the next meeting because we have to have a public hearing to go over the costs.
yeah, for all fees, right?
Right, for all fees. So I'll put a motion on the floor that we approve the water rules and regulations presented. What's the last date of this, Kelly? It says 000017.
I would say, if you're gonna vote on it today, then I'll change it to today.
Okay, so October 16th, 2017.
Excuse me for a second.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, I didn't bring the statute with me, but don't we have to have a public hearing on the actual regs themselves? Doesn't it go to the Board of Selectmen and then the Board of Selectmen? This board makes the recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, and then what happens is the Board of Selectmen have a public hearing on the entire document.
Okay, well,
That's what I think it is.
okay, well,
I'm sorry, I didn't bring it.
just in case, then I'll amend my motion to just state this as a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen so we can keep it rolling forward.
Put and/or recommendation.
Yeah, okay. All right. Kathy will figure it out. She knows what I said, right?
She'll call me.
All right.
Second.
Okay, so we have a second for that. Any discussion?
Has this been approved for typos and all of that already, or?
Do the best I can, I think it's,
I didn't catch any, but that's not saying much. We'll go over it again, but, you don't need to vote again just to correct stuff like that, right, Marty?
No, not if it's Scrivener.
Yeah, Scrivener's corrections, that's, I couldn't remember that legal term. All right, any other questions for Kelly before we vote? Okay, hearing none, those in favor of approving the water and sewer regs, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something else. All right, that motion carries. All right, item number 3.
Excuse me 1 second, though. Going back to Article 7, there's a question marks.
that's just a fee. Well, what I think I can do, I was gonna bring that up just now, but what's in red is just what the fee would be for cross-connection device testing. But I can leave that there will be a fee, and then our schedule will show it at a later date.
Right, so it's not gonna be in here, right?
No.
No. It'll be an addendum.
Yeah,
attached.
because it'll change from
Right.
time to time.
Right. Okay, so supervisor vehicle, do you have paperwork?
I do. I've got 2 different quotes. I originally went to look at the half-ton Ford, as we spoke the last meeting. For that truck, it came in at 27.4. So I thought more and more about what you guys had mentioned about the Ford body being aluminum and the problems they're having with it. So I went to Ingersoll to find out about a Chevy, as you guys had recommended. They have on the lot that I put a hold on just so that they don't sell it out from under me. They've got a 4-wheel drive, half-ton, regular cab, GMC pickup, 8-foot bed, which the Chevy has a stronger bed, and it's a difference of $2,500, including the lights and the hat rack, the head rack that I want on it. The difference with the Chevy or the GMC is It's got a plow package on it.
A what? A plow pack, okay.
package. Not a plow, but a plow.
Yeah,
package.
yeah.
So it's set up, bigger radiator, alternator, et cetera, tow package. So my thought is, if at some point we have a problem with the one plow truck that we have for our department, or if this truck needs to be handed down to replace another vehicle, it's already four-wheel drive, it's already set up with a plow, and it's, you know, a halfway decent truck. So I feel for the extra 2,500, and also seeing that half the money will come from sewer and half the money will come from water, I'd like to go with the GMC.
And what's the total cost of that?
It is $30,082.48. And that I just got from Ingersoll.
From Ingersoll?
And they have one on the lot. They actually have a twin.
Just out of curiosity, what was the list price versus the offer price?
Retail price is $37,910. Savings of $8,500. Selling price $29,332. The options of the utility rack, the back rack and the strobe on top is about $750. So they gave me a quote of $30,082.48.
Okay. That seems to make sense to me. The heavier duty, what do you guys think?
What is that, three-quarter, half-ton?
Half ton.
Well,
Business.
But does it have the suspension to take into the
What I
plow?
do, yes, and it's set up for, it's designed to put a plow on it. It's a work package that the truck has, but it's designed to be able to put the horns on, to put on a plow if I had to. And I could probably, I'm pretty sure I could take the plow off the Ford as long as the horns match up, if we ever had a problem with it. So at some point I may look at having the horns put on it, just so, as our plow truck's got 150,000 miles on it now, just for a backup down the road. Basically what I'm saying is it can be filtered through the department as not just my vehicle, but as our plow vehicle.
And a standard warranty?
Yep.
The Ford, do they know if that's affected by this Kobelco aluminum problem from Japan?
I really don't know. All I know is what Bobby's opened up like a can opener, his body. And even they said when they put the new body on, you can tell it's very weak. You can almost see the little movement in it. My thing is, if I throw a manhole lid in there and it slides around the truck, it's probably gonna go through your body.
Yeah.
And I
Do you put a liner on the,
it comes with a liner.
okay.
All right, well, I'll put a motion on the floor that we approve purchase of the GMC from Ingersoll Motors in the amount not to exceed $30,082.48.
Second.
There's a second. Okay. Discussion, guys? Any,
Richie, you're closer to these trucks than I am.
Yeah, I don't own a truck. You do.
They're a good truck. It's heavier duty, it's got the steel frame, you know, it's not the aluminum body on it.
Yeah.
It's, the road salt kills anything, so it's.
All right. Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, and that motion carries as well. Okay, Kelly, well, you're still up. Supervisor's report.
Okay, I'll start on the sewer side. The fence has been repaired at Stony Hill 2.
That's the one by the restaurant?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was repaired through an insurance claim. No cost to us. Fall Street, grinder number 1, went on last week, it was last Thursday. It's actually dropped the flow by half because it's a larger area that it's going across. No issues whatsoever. Grinder number 2 is scheduled for startup tomorrow. So we're gonna be able to rotate between the two or run them both at the same time. While Kovacs was in there, I had him patch up any breaches in the wall of the wet well, and also put some explosion-proof lighting in there, because the lighting is very poor. It's such an acidic area that you're gonna do it all in plastic, but that's not part of Kovacs. That's gonna be part of a maintenance issue. So Wall Street's looking good. At the same time, when I have the salesman out here tomorrow, if the startup is tomorrow, I'm gonna take him up to Stony Hill 1 at the firehouse station where we have the majority of the problems with solids. And I'm gonna have him quote out for budgetary reasons, what if, budgetary amounts as to possibly being able to hang a grinder off the wall in there. They do that all the time. The flow will go across the grinder, chew it up, and then go to the pumps. We've already got 2 new pumps in there we did last year. This'll put a closing to Stony Hill 1. So, but again, I'm just gonna do that as a, for budgetary reasons. next year.
Have we had to clean out anything in Stony Hill recently,
No.
like with the, okay.
Yeah.
So across the street, they're monitoring it.
I think they are. I don't know what they're doing, but it's better. It's much
Okay.
better as it is. Plus, we're cleaning them, you know, we're having Pembroke come in and clear them out every like 3 or 4 months, so that cuts back on a lot of it too. On the water side, I've measured out Prospect Street. It's 485 feet of main. I've got a quote from Connecticut Professional Water Services, the same one it did at the beginning of Prospect Street. Their figure is $70 a foot. We supply the water main and the parts and the services. There's 11 services there. It's $950 each service, and that will include renewing it to the curb, including a new curb box, as going along with our rules and regulations. It's a good price. I think you're looking at anywhere from $150 to $200 a foot installed. I have a copy of their quote that they sent me. The only thing that I am going to do is we need to put that on the bypass. We really can't run a new main along the old one because the sewer's at about 5 feet. The water main's going to be at 4 feet. There's not a lot of room in that road. So I have High Kent, remember Lenny who used to be on the, he's gonna meet me tomorrow morning and they're gonna come up with a plan to do bypass. So it is the easiest way, get us going a little faster. It'll cut back on a lot of the shutdown. But I am trying to get this scheduled in the next couple of weeks to get that out of the way. So that'll make the ground firm up before next spring when Bobby's gonna redo that road. Prospect, the whole length of it.
So what's the total cost?
Well, let's see.
You got 70 times 485, right?
Yep. And then you got about $1,000 of service. And they've got, if they need any process or more asphalt than what they feel will cover it, they've got a price in there for that.
What is it?
Pardon?
7?
11 services, yes. Also, Grandview Terrace, taking the people off that galvanized. I talked with Pembroke Plumbing. They're gonna come and meet me Wednesday or Thursday and look into doing that. So that will get us off of that 2-inch galvanized that we really don't have a lot of control over. And then that road's gonna be ready to be done for the highway department next spring also. But Pembroke will come in with their vac truck and it'll be less the road's gonna get torn up. It makes it easier and quicker. And Farnham Hill, I wanna put that on the list for either next spring or next summer. I'd like to get that one done. That'll complete that whole loop in that section between Grand and basically the hub, through that whole area there. Again, that's Rich Road, we're talking about 4-inch main and what have you. The problem we did have on Prospect Street, the people lost a lot of pressure by switching over to the well side. And I think it's because that main always went one way. So all the tuberculation built up one way, we reversed it, and I think it stirred things up. So kudos to you that I think that's the right, we're making the right move by doing that this fall.
All right, so the bypass, you got to get a number for the bypass.
Number on the bypass.
The total work is 45,000, 44,950.
So you understand, that's just labor, that's
Yeah,
not
plus,
property.
yeah.
And I've got over 100 feet of water main sitting at Paul Street that we can use toward this project, for 6-inch. I have hydrants at Paul Street, and I also have the T. So it's basically just buying a couple valves, a couple fittings, and the remainder of the pipe.
Can
Can
they,
be done before the end of the year?
That was my question.
So just how much are we allocating to pipe repair over the course of the next year? Pipe replacement?
I don't have that figure in front of me.
Well, the only
this-
reason I
this
ask
one-
Kelly is it seems like it's this one, it's this one, it's this one, but
Yeah.
has anyone got the estimate on what we're gonna spend over the next 12 months?
yeah,
But this was
it's in the
included,
budget, we can pull it up.
this was included in, your, Maris, if you want to jump in, this was included in the funding that you had asked from DEEP. So this is under the under the funding program already. So we're gonna get reimbursed 40% out of the,
20%, yeah.
20%.
This is just a copy of the quote for your record.
It's, you know, they're gonna repave that road next year, and they only did part of the water line, so at this time, I'd like to see the water line finished. No sense of paving the whole
The only
road.
reason I bring it up, Rich, is it seems like these just, they pop up at a meeting, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
here's 500 feet of pipe we want to replace
Well-
in 2 weeks.
Did,
So I don't see where there's, I don't see a plan. I don't
Well,
see
that's-
anything that says this is our
Where's my
objective. This is our plan.
well, that's what I had put forth
I saw
a
that
month
you put that
ago.
As a recommendation.
But Maris sent out a letter September 19th where he was talking about the DPH's funding application includes the following water mains: Grandview Terrace, Oakland Heights, Midway Drive, Prospect Street, and Mansfield, and Rector. So, it's in kind of a schedule that
Okay,
we've been working on.
I must have missed that one.
Well, I want to go back a little bit, because before you got on the PUC, the reason we have Marius here is that after the Aquarian vote in whatever year that was, we put out an RFP for engineering firm. Wright Pierce won that award, and they spent a year developing basically a 30-year capital plan. So doing a certain number of yards of pipe every year is part of that, and that cost is fed into our long-term rate projections. So then what we're doing on an annual basis is saying, okay, where are the worst pipes? So we've got a certain number of linear feet of pipe programmed in. It's just making that final selection. So that's why it seems like, they pop up. But it is part of it was thought out. I just want to give you some confidence on that. All right, great, thanks. So, anything else?
Richie, you said the total cost for this is what?
Well, for that, he doesn't have all the numbers together because he has to add the cost of the pipe on it and the bypass.
Right, and the bypass is probably, I'm thinking between $12 and $15 a foot. But I don't know how I don't know whether they include the hoses going to the homes, whether it's just the bypass main that they lay on the curb. I'll know better talking to. I haven't been involved in bypass since I came here, so I really don't know.
Oh, you weren't involved on Bethpage?
Well, that was kind of done by the contractor.
Oh,
As part of, was it Rendano, I think it was back then?
Yeah. What'd you say a foot roughly?
Probably 12 to 15. Usually
Say
15 is
50.
a high number.
And you say you got
Times
all
five.
piping and necessary, see?
No, he's got to buy some.
Probably got about 100 feet, I think,
Oh.
I have at Fall Street. The rest of it will have to be purchased.
Can I ask a question? What
Yeah.
do you mean by bypass? I don't know.
What it is they'll hit, grab onto the hydrant at the end of the street. They'll run a 2-inch line down the curb. And then there'll be hoses that will backfeed the homes
Oh, I
into their
Temporary.
outside faucets. I'm sorry, I just take it as a habit of,
Okay, I got it.
but
At least this time of the year, they're not gonna be getting hot water for cold,
No, that's,
because that was the biggest complaint on the other side of town.
yeah, no, it's, the biggest thing we would have to worry about is a frost at night. Sometimes the hoses get a little crackly. We gotta go out there and, once the sun gets on, but the way this weather's been here, I don't think we're gonna worry about that.
When do you anticipate?
I'd like to start in a couple of weeks, get it done in a
Four-
couple of weeks.
400 feet of pipe, what's pipe cost?
About $20 a foot.
That's 8,000.
You probably want to add another 1,000 in for valves.
44.
So, but this work is, it's anticipated in our budget, right? So, yeah, so we're just moving along.
75 and 8.
Rich, I'd like to hear your final
Hey.
number.
He's calculating.
Kelly.
60
quick question, going back to
60,000.
The new grinders,
Yep.
those have been put into our PM programs, that they stay maintained?
Yes, actually, one of our newest maintainers is really taking it under his wing, where he goes down there every day, gets any solids out of the way. I inquired about any kind of maintenance or greasing or what have you. They recommended just a spray to put onto the grinders themselves where the water isn't going across. They can be reversed. If they plug up, they'll either shut down or they'll reverse themselves, or clear themselves. It's basically,
Really?
it's got a sensor in the box that will stop them. I think if it happens 3 times in a row, they'll stop. And consecutively,
Okay,
3 times in a row.
sure.
But it will actually stop and turn the other way and clean the.
But I'm sure their PM goes beyond daily spraying. There
Oh,
must
yeah,
be some
yeah.
PM program, and have we put that into our system? Do we have a documented PM system?
Yeah, we
that
do,
is put
we
in?
do, and then there actually is quite a bit, is low, very low maintenance, like the electrical is all enclosed, because you're working in an area that is designed to be waterproof. So we are working with enclosed bearings and everything else, at least on the electrical side and the bearings. But we'll have everything included in our new system, and Kelly's maintainer, Chris Gazillo, has been down there. He's been doing a great job by the town, keeping a lot of this debris out of the older one. Put the bar rack in place. We've been talking, Kelly and I have been talking to the maintainers regarding the change in hydraulic flow into the plant has a stronger likelihood for additional grease to be coming down there, more solids. Because what's happening, we're going from a full 50+% pipe down to a lower than 50% pipe, increasing the velocity. So a lot of debris, a lot of solids that are in the main line coming into the plant are going to be coming in now. So, we all have our first significant rainstorm on the calendar, whatever that may be. Get down to Paul Street, make sure that the place is functioning properly. So yeah, these grinders present a number of changes in a number of ways. And even though they're going to be installed and operational tomorrow, again, we're watching, all eyes are on watching these things, in the coming weeks and months.
Well, I'm all about written instructions on things, and I want to make sure that this is being done that way, because we have the same concern on the water side. My impression is we really have one person that maintains everything, and if we have a problem with him, then we have to train someone rapidly. And the best way to train people, of course, is by having written instructions. This goes back to, line identification, written instructions, up-to-date drawings. Are we maintaining all of that stuff?
We are. We're not searching for records anymore. Everything is in a central place. When it comes to these grinders, Chris Gazillo has been very anal about this. He's got it tucked away. We've got all the contacts there if we have a problem.
We've got plans going forward to have every valve, everything documented, we're gonna, it's,
Do we have that on our new computer system?
Yeah, that's right, Peter. We're gonna be, the computer system is an asset management system, so every piece that we're looking at different ways of economically doing that, getting some part-time, temporary help on board that could be good with the technology, shadow the operation guys, but also start getting some of this long-term
We haven't
documentation.
started it yet, though. We haven't started doing it.
Well, we've got all the parts and pieces. We have all the paperwork stacked
I
up. We've
understand it,
got.
but we haven't put any on the computer.
Not yet per se. I mean, it is. It exists in spreadsheets. All the work that Wright Pierce has done just needs to be imported into the system and filled out. But everything is there. All the ingredients for the cake are in-house, and it's just a question of putting it together and baking it.
So you have procedural manuals, and then you've got also a monthly or weekly maintenance manual too.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff that, historical documentation stuff that we do now.
But it's all, I'm asking if it's just in your computer system as a checklist. Because, you know, one of my concerns is, you just mentioned it, is valves. We have a tendency to forget about valves. If you don't turn these things, it'd be just like in my house. I have to go
That's
call
right.
the plumber and say, hey, let's replace all the valves.
That's right. I mean, a case in point, we had Burns Construction hit the main on Beach Street. Within less than an hour, the guys had all the water off over there. But in the meantime, we had calls from the high school because they were losing pressure up at the high school. You know, it became a town-wide emergency really quick. And, you know, we popped one of the valve caps open and there was a little cone on top. And we're all wondering why it was there. Well, sure enough, it was a left.
Open right versus an open left. Yeah.
Open right, open left. So, you know, in the field, in the future, they'll be able to go out there with an electronic device and these valves will be called out open right, open left, which could mean the difference in the world in terms of understanding what needs to be turned off and off and on during these break situations. So, you know, actually the state's using Bethel as an example of what they want to. McCann was speaking in Brookfield at this WIC meeting, and he was using asset management as what they're requiring, is kind of using Bethel almost as an example as, you know, this is the direction that we're recommending and looking for all of our water departments to go. So, you know, we'll be there before you know it. It just takes a little time, and we have all the ingredients to get this thing going.
Okay.
The other question I have is that, when they go down in that, to declare them, you know, work on that, is there two guys or one guy?
Usually two, but what we're doing, they go, like you talk about the procedures. The procedure is pick up the phone, call one of the other guys and say, yes, I'm going into the wet well, like on weekends, because we only have one man going. He gets the oxygen meter, he goes down with the oxygen meter on his belt, he does what he has to do, he comes back up, and he calls the guy to say, yes, I'm out of the wet well. They take turns calling each other, so someone is aware and paying attention for that 15 to 20 minutes, whatever it is. For them.
Are we complying with the OSHA standard by doing that?
I feel that we are, yes.
I don't know,
We're not
I'm
in a
asking the
confined-
question, are we complying?
We're not in a confined space.
That is a confined space.
It's a confined space underneath.
Right, when you go down.
When you go down into the
That's
wet well.
what I'm saying. So the
Yeah.
guy goes
No,
down
we don't
there.
go into the wet well. I mean, I'm sorry. We don't go down into the main holding tank. We go down the stairways, all the tops have to be
No, I
open,
understand.
oxygen has to be right. Excuse me, and then they go down and they take the grate off. I don't consider the room being a confined space. If they went down into that well, then I would.
Where the grinders are, is that a confined space?
I don't feel it is, no.
I don't know.
Hey, Pete, I think what I'll do is I'll have Tom Galliford, he's
I'm
our,
asking the question for the simple reason, I don't want somebody,
oh, yeah, no, I
somebody
did.
got a heart attack or
Yeah.
something, there's nobody there and he can't get to the phone. But it is below grade, no matter go into a
It is
tank,
below grade,
it is
yes.
below grade, and you have to comply with that standard. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tom is our OSHA compliance
Well, I would definitely
officer,
check
so
that
I'll,
out because,
Well, you'd have the same situation with the pump room at Hoyts Hill,
right. When they go
you
down.
know?
Yep.
It's still a room below grade,
Yeah.
technically,
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we'd
Why
have-
not?
So, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get
you're right.
a ruling on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, I come up with $61,000 for the completion of the water main on Prospect Street. So if you wanted to round it off to 65, that would cover any overages you might have. So I'd make a recommendation that we complete Prospect Street with the new water main for the amount of $65,000.
Hey, Bob, that kind of work is already anticipated in the budget, right? Yeah, so we don't need a separate vote on it. We can just move forward. Cool. All right, good. All right, any other questions for Kelly? Everything good? All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.